The seventh and final plague that appears in Parashat Ve'era is the plague of Barad, this heavy, severe, damaging hail. The Torah describes this hail in very dramatic terms, and the hail itself, as well as the impact that it will have. And the Torah says that this hail is unprecedented in all of Egyptian history and Egyptian experience. When Moshe is warning Paro in chapter 9, verse 18, he says, tomorrow at this time I will rain down upon Egypt a very heavy hail. That has not been in Egypt from the day that Egypt was established or founded until today. A few verses later, when the Torah actually describes the Barad coming, there was Barad and there was fire flashing in the midst of this heavy, severe hail. That had not fallen in all the land of Egypt from the day that Egypt became a nation. So both of these psukim are referring to and drawing reference to the unprecedented nature of this hail in the context of Egyptian history. From the day that Egypt became a nation, there was nothing like this. From the day that Egypt was established, there was nothing like this. But because the language is a little bit different, miyom hivasda v'yarata versus mi'az hayta lagoy, slight differences in language. It draws attention, of course, to those differences and the significance of those differences. So first of all, hivasda, that everyone has a lot to say about that word. The grammar is a little bit complex. It means, as I said, the day that Egypt was established or founded. But Kasuto, Rabbi Umberto Cassuto, the great 20th century Torah scholar who was from Italy and ended his career teaching at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, notes that we have archaeological records of Egyptian writing that speak of Egypt being a civilization, a nation, an empire that had an origin point, that it was a country that was founded, and that was how Egyptians understood themselves, and that's how they wrote about themselves, that's how they wrote about their own history. And so what we see, according to Cassuto, is that Moshe is echoing the Egyptian self-conception. He's echoing the language that Egyptians used to tell about themselves, to share their own narrative of who they are and how they came to be and where they're living. And I think that's a very, very profound lesson for communication of all kinds. That even if you're confronting an evil, wicked king, headed of an evil empire in this context of this bitter, deadly struggle for freedom, there's still a value to make the effort to understand your opponent's conception of who they are and how do they speak about themselves, how do they understand themselves and their collective identity, their national identity, their civilizational identity, what's their understanding of themselves, and can I echo that language and use that language when speaking to them, even in a confrontational way, even as making a threat about a plague, so in that way we have a chance of being heard and understood. Right? If we can show people that we understand who they are and we respect and use even when we can their own language and as they refer to themselves, then I think there's a greater chance of being heard. And if Moshe could do it when speaking to Paro, I think the rest of us can do it as well when speaking to, in the context of the confrontations that we have, which are I would imagine significantly less zero-sum, significantly less fraught or tense than Moshe's confrontation with Paro. I wish you all a wonderful, delightful Shabbat. I look forward to seeing you all, many of you, over the coming day. Shabbat Shalom.